I think we should talk about Penguin first because honestly, Penguin was, in my opinion, the best episode of the three, and it was a home run. It was a 10 out of 10 for me. Like I just there's so many aspects of the episode that just blew my mind. What did you think of the episode before I kind of dive into it?
Oh, it was really good. Really enjoyed it. I had a good time with the characters, the background. It's very much akin to Breaking Bad when you look at it,
Mm,
um, because you see how this turns into sort of a moment of like, oh, you wouldn't be here if it weren't for me. You could be something better.
yeah,
Your dad would appreciate that you're here and whatnot. And it's like he doesn't know any of that, but like he just manipulates the situation so that he sticks around. And who knows what'll happen in the next episode. But like essentially we see that instead of leaving Gotham and going with his girlfriend, like he decides to stick around and help out Penguin. And but even when the moment comes and like he helps out Penguin, like he still thinks about like other people, because he has a caring heart. And he's like, well, what about Sophia? And he's like, and like literally Penguin's like, who gives a shit, just drive. And
Flavor.
yeah, like who
Yeah,
cares? And it still sparks that situation of like she's not going to trust you if you're
mm,
not thinking about like keeping her around. But
yeah,
if there's always an opportunity for him to possibly get rid of her, even by indirect means, like that's how it's going to happen. Like essentially, like leaving her be, getting her stuck somewhere. But at the same time, like, can you imagine if they decide, whoever decides to capture Sophia is like, hey, so we noticed that like he took off.
yeah.
Um, what's up with that? And then like it could turn into something worse. You never know.
I thought it was I thought it was a very strange move that he left her. Like in a moment like that, you would think that the only way I would leave is if I like saw her getting shot and it's like, okay, she's done for. But
Mhm.
you would think she's probably going to escape this and get away. And if she does, as you say, her like trust in him is completely shook, and it's going to set him back with the Maroney family just so far. But I don't know if he just thinks, fuck it, she's gone, like who cares, and I'll spin it in my own way. I did
Mhm.
think it was a bit of a strange move, and I remember my girlfriend was just like turned to me, it's like, did he leave her? I was like, oh shit. He's like, it was like such a scramble, and I was like, yeah, I think he just left her. So I presume what's probably going to happen in the next episode, we're going to see that she's probably been taken captive or something like that, and
Mhm.
maybe he'll go and rescue her or something like that to try and gain the trust back or something. I don't know, but
And that would work out
yeah,
because like he obviously needs to have that trust built in. And
yeah,
it's still not there because she still thinks that he probably did have a hand in her brother's death, which of course we all know that he did.
oh yeah, the hand in the death. But you mentioned something about the Victor scene in the restaurant. That was probably my favorite scene of the whole episode. That or the bathroom scene, like towards the end, where again it was just Victor and Penguin just both talking, and they
Mhm.
were both just such gripping scenes. They were so amazing. Like the fact that in the restaurant scene where Penguin is talking and the waiter comes over to take the order, and poor Victor starts stuttering, and the waiter tries to correct him, and he's like, let him finish, let him talk, and all, like, and it's like him genuinely, I think, showing respect to Victor. I don't think he, like, I think he genuinely does care for the kid and is trying to bring him up and is trying to take him under his wing.
Mhm.
And I love that scene. I just thought it was incredible. And then talking about the dad and the American dream, and like, Gotham is a hustle, I think, is like, or was that, I think that was the line he said, like, Gotham's a hustle, or the world is a hustle. And he's just like, no matter, he did everything right but still ended up with nothing. And it's just like, because the American dream isn't that anymore. Like, you know what I mean? You have to fucking grind and hustle to get to the top. And I thought that was just so powerful. And
Right.
while he was talking about this, I was saying to myself, I was just like, his dad, Vic's dad, would not be proud of the man that he's become. And then he says it later on in the episode, and I was like, yeah, like obviously, like, his dad was a straight shooter, and Vic has now obviously gone down the criminal path, and obviously, his
Mhm.
family would not be impressed with him. But as Penguin thinks like, it's like, oh, your dad would be so proud of you, he says at one point, and it's like he wouldn't actually. But
Yeah, there's no way.
yeah, like really realistically, no. But again, that's the world. That's the world how uh Penguin sees it. You know what I mean? Like even his mother's like, this should be your city. Like, so they were brought up very differently.
Right.
Which is I like the kind of yin yang of it as well. Victor knows he's a good, like he knows he should be a good guy, but he knows that he's kind of gone bad and there's nothing he can do about it. Now it's just kind of Gotham is in such like disarray that it's like, survival of the fittest sort of thing. Like he kind of knows now he has to do it. Like there's maybe before the flood he wouldn't have, because he was trying to be a good guy, maybe hanging out with the wrong people, as we saw in the flashback scene at the start, which was really cool as well. That was another kind of great scene. It was
Mhm.
great to kind of see their perspective of the Riddler attack. Thought that was really sweet, and like kind of made me think more so that, because again they're kind of going back to the actual Batman movie quite a bit. So I'm kind of thinking
Mhm.
like it's looking more likely as the show's going on that we actually might get either Batman himself or like Pattinson just as Bruce Wayne or something before the end of the season, which I think would be absolutely brilliant. I think it'd be really cool to see Batman or Bruce, or both, by the end of the show. I think it'd be really cool, kind of just like as a little kind of bridge into the next movie, which I'm very excited for. Yeah, I loved it, man. Loved it. I loved the whole dynamic between Sophia and the triads. I loved, testing out the drug Bliss, and they're in the club, and
Mhm.
Victor's like the little bag man, and then when he starts having like the PTSD attack and all, I don't know, man. I was so engrossed in, like, when he dropped the bag, I was like, oh my god, like I was so in it, like I was just like, oh my god, I can't believe he dropped the shit. Like I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, no, 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 pick it up. And like I was fucking right in it, man. Like it's the best kind of, or most kind of engrossed I've been in a show in a while, like something new that I haven't seen before. Like
Mhm.
again, we're watching Agatha, and I'm just kind of like, I'm going with emotions here. I'm just like, oh, whatever, just watching it to watch it, to be able to talk about it here. I'm not actually like enjoying it, but with this show, I sat there and I was like, this feels like, watching The Sopranos for the first time, sort of thing. Like, when Tony's like, trying to clip guys in New York and all this stuff, and you're kind of just like, oh my god, this is fucking incredible. It's like that's where I'm at with this show, and it's insane. Um, loved it. I thought Sophia was good in the episode. Just she's clearly insane. Obviously, she was in Arkham and stuff, but the way that I thought, I never really thought much about her as an actress, but I think she's killing this performance in the show. Like just
Mhm.
the way she's got the big kind of wide eyes, and everyone's just kind of like, you're a bit mad, aren't you? And the way she kind of looks back at them like real crazy eyes. It's just like, what are you talking about? Of course I'm not mad. I know exactly what I'm doing. And all. It's like she's about to pop, like, and it's going to be so entertaining when we see it. Fucking epic, bro. It's
Oh
epic.
yeah.
Yeah, really, really, really enjoying it. I was blown away by it. And even online, I was kind of during the week, kind of seeing what other people were saying about it. And Josh from the Den of Nerds, guy I watch every day, he was like shitting all over the show at the start, like about episode 1 and 2. He's like, this is boring, it's not great, and blah blah blah. And even he, like at episode 3, was just like, this is fucking lit, like this is amazing. So it's good to see that even people who were shaking on it at the start are turning around, and I'm very excited because I hear episode 4 is even better.
Well,
It's
I
just
mean
going to be on viewers.
that seems surprising though. I mean, considering that I don't know what it is with the first episode, but I thought the first episode was great. Like it
So did I.
set things up pretty well. For anybody that thinks it was bad, I'd like to know why. It'd be nice to know like what on their take was
Yeah,
in accordance to that, because like it works. Like it followed up right after the events of the Batman, and it just it pulled in the same way, had the Penguin, and had the same kind of style that we saw within the movie, like just translated over to a TV show, and it set itself in. I think it's doing a good job continuing its story. I think like all three episodes so far are fantastic. I think two was definitely the weakest, but three was a heavy hitter. I think most people that are into the show probably were in the same situation as you, where they were very excited to see like all the different things happening with Vic. the things happening with Penguin, to see things with Sophia. Honestly, I think Sophia is like the most effective character in the show so far, besides Victor.
Mm.
Um,
Victor stole
Penguin
the
is.
show this week. Stole
I
the show
think.
in episode 3. He was incredible.
I think it was more Sophia in my opinion, because
Really?
Sophia
Okay.
just because Sophia does a really good job of portraying like this. Like it almost feels like a facade. Like you think that she's crazy, and she may be a little bit crazy. Being in Arkham doesn't necessarily mean that you come out feeling good. um
Yeah.
it's supposed to fuck you up a little. And Sophia talking to the dealers and trying to get like a new setup going on with Bliss, and telling them like what they should think, and telling them like I don't give a like she was literally like I don't give a fuck who you are. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
will sell to the next person. I don't care. But let
That
me
was
tell you,
that was
like, this is
baller,
going to be a
bro.
wild ride. Yeah.
That
And
was baller.
she hyped it up and left them to think about what they're going to do. And it sounds like they did it immediately. Like, um Colin Farrell as Penguin is kind of like the catalyst, with all these different characters. You get to see so much going in this world because of the Penguin, because you see through his eyes,
Mhm.
as well as like Victor's. And I think that Victor has a really strong presence, but I really do believe that it's Sophia that stole the show in this one, because it was mainly about her. Besides like Victor having his moments here and there, they put Victor's moments at the beginning and at the end of it, but everything in the middle was all Sophia.
Yeah, I saw it more personally as a Victor episode because, again, yes, he had like incredible moments in the restaurant, incredible moments in the bathroom when Penguin gets the phone off him and everything. And he's like, "You're gonna leave me," and all like, and when he's holding the gun up to his head, he's like, "Is this what this relationship feels like to you?" Like, it was just you could see he was actually hurt by it, and I was like, "Wow, this is fucking amazing." But even in the middle of the episode where we see him become kind of the drug runner, and you could see him kind of finding his feet, and he's building up that kind of confidence to be in the field and actually doing stuff rather than just being a driver. Um, and again, like even when we Sophia and Vic first meet, I'm more kind of worried about Vic in this scene. I'm not like kind of worried about Sophia. Like the whole dynamic of him being on the like Penguin being on the phone in the other room with the Maronis while she's banging on his door. Like it's just so intense. But then like poor Victor has to answer the door and he has to talk to her and he's getting quizzed and everything and he's like shaking like a leaf and everything. And I'm just like, oh, this is like just so intense. It's so incredible. But
Yeah,
I'm
but
only thinking about Victor pretty much the whole
right.
time.
I
Like
get that, but like we've seen that before. We've seen that in the first and second episodes. We've
oh
already
no, but this was
we've
different in episode 3 with her. Like, it was a proper kind of nail biter moment for me anyway. And like even when after the whole kind of thing, it's like, yeah, Vic's gonna drive us around, and she's like, no, 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 he stays here. Don't trust him. And then it's like, you're gonna drive me like the old days. And she kept like throwing jabs at him as well. Like, he used to be my driver. Did he tell you that and everything? And
yeah.
oh yeah, it was great, man. The mind games were just fucking on fire. It was
Right.
fantastic.
Right. The mind games from Sophia. From Sophia,
In that
interacting with
in that
Victor, with Sophia interacting with Penguin, Sophia doing all these different things in
yeah.
between. And yes, we did have Victor moments here and there. It to me, it just like I don't think we're going to agree on this, but I really think that Sophia's moments had much more of a punch during the midsection. I'm not saying that Victor's
Yeah.
moments weren't. I'm not saying that Victor's moments weren't fantastic. I'm saying that Sophia handled the body of the story for episode 3 like to a T. Everything that she did was meticulously done. And whenever she felt like she was being like shoved to the side, she found her way back in. Especially with blackmailing that one guy, I forgot his name. Trying to get with the triads, trying to set things up. Like it's all because she still exists, and that's why Penguin keeps her around.
Yeah. I think when they got your man to fuck the boss's wife, that was all Penguin. That wasn't Sophia, right? Like that was Penguin's idea.
Right, but at the same time, like she also gave him information that it was necessary, that they needed to get his approval.
Yeah. I don't yeah, was it not the triad that was like get him on the phone? And
Yeah.
she's like,
So
what has he got to do with this?
right. but essentially, like it also worked in her favor because she was about to be sent out.
Oh yeah, he threatened her for sure, and
Right.
so she's
So it
like,
worked
yeah,
out.
it definitely worked out for her. But yeah, that was definitely Penguin. That was a big fucking point for in Penguin's book for Sophia, like in their relationship. But by the end of the episode, he's just squandered the whole thing because he's just left her for dead on the side of the road. So, oh man, I can't wait to see where she ends up in the next episode.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
it's gonna be cool. The Maronis are hilarious as well. Like it's like again, like they are they even like really running things? I don't like. I know they think they are. I know there's a bit of a vacuum, but it doesn't really feel like they are. Um, but like they're making all these like crazy moves, but like Gotham isn't theirs. Like
Right. Well, they're too busy gooning around thinking that they have everything in check, when in reality they're not doing shit. They're sitting around, and eventually the bomb's going to explode, and they're going to be caught red-handed, like for
facts,
everything.
facts. Another great scene for Vic this episode was do you know the scene where he's parked in the car outside the club when they
Mhm.
first go in for the negotiations and the cop pulls him over. And he's like, "You're a bit young to be driving a car like this. What are you doing here?" And all. And Vic just thinking like a pro on his feet, like when he finds the cash. And he's like, this is way too much cash for a kid your age. And he goes, "What cash?" And the cop's like, yeah, all right, get out of here. When your boss gets out of here, get the fuck out of here. I was like, holy shit. I was like, that's epic. And I love the way it was just like, those dirty bastards. It's like, oh, well, this is the job, bro. Like, you would think that he'd be like, I'll give you like whatever. You gave him $1,000 a week to start with. I'd be like, here's a bonus for, saving our asses. Cause like, again, Vic like saved the day there. Like, if
Mhm.
that cop searched the car, the whole stash was there, the whole fucking Bliss product and would be out, and like the cops would know all about it before it even hits the street. Like, that would have been just game over before it even began. Um, which was like, I think Vic fucking, as I said, like just on fire this episode. Fucking amazing. And like I think, do you think he's gonna turn out to be like somebody of importance in like the Batman universe? I don't really know. Like again, I'm trying not to do too much digging around, but like do you think he'll end up like being somebody of importance? The way shows like this, like sometimes they'll do it where like they'll introduce a character and you think he's a nobody, but then it turns out it's just like a different origin to an existing villain that maybe we already know.
Uh, I mean, for this kind of show, I don't think it's going to run too much longer,
Mm.
considering that Colin Farrell doesn't necessarily want to be in the suit anymore.
I could imagine so. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I think he said they got it down to 3 hours. It takes, and like they're like that's the best they can get it. So 3 hours is still a long time to sit in a chair.
Yeah, definitely. So like it really just depends on whether or not he wants to continue this. I mean, I don't think Vic has enough legs to be able to stand on his own, and maybe they'll like there's no story to be had from like where he's at right now either. So it's hard to tell like what's going to happen in terms of like this character. But in my head, I'm thinking that it's going to be kind of a one and done. Like this, he'll live off well, he'll do good, and then maybe by the end of it, Penguin just sends him off, like doesn't kill him, but like lets him go.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That'd be kind of cool because like obviously now it's kind of in the back of Penguin's head. It's like he did try to leave. He was texting that girl. He was on the fence about jumping on the bus to Cali. So
Right.
yeah, maybe
Yeah.
he does go, look, you've done your bits. It's getting a bit too dangerous. Just get out. I don't want to see you die, sort of thing.
Yeah, because like I don't think depending on how people like the character, I mean they could easily just pull a 180 and kill him off, but
Yeah,
I doubt that. I think that they'll at least let him live, and then that way they can use him for something later on in a different lighting. Because the his girl said that she was going to go to California, right?
yeah,
So you never know. Like there might be shit nearby California that they can work with in terms of DC, but I'm not too savvy on what DC does with their environment. That's not as plain and out there as Marvel. Like with Marvel, it's all the U.S. It's essentially like there's no Gotham, there's no random like area
Yeah,
that is make believe. It is all
real
uh
states and shit. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like because I know Star City is basically Seattle, I think. I believe Central City is kind of like around like Chicago area. Um, I don't know if it replaces Chicago, but I think like on the map, I'm trying to remember. I remember seeing it in a comic before, like the kind of United States mapped out. And I
Mhm.
know like Star City and like I think Metropolis and Gotham are very close together. And I think they're on the East Coast, if I'm not mistaken. Um, but yeah, like again, the DC world is very different. There's like Coast City and Bloodhaven and all these different places, whereas in it's like New York, California, L.A., all this shit in
Yeah,
Marvel.
exactly.
Yeah. Um.
Just just really depends. I mean, I think like the characters liked enough to where they'll definitely keep them around or at least use them again at some point.
But that's where I'm kind of thinking, would it be good or not if it turned out that he became, a kind of well-known DC villain, and then maybe he could be appearing in a later movie or something like that. You
Him
know?
being a villain,
Yeah.
I don't
I've
see
seen
it.
I've seen some people talking about it online. Again, I'm not taking it with a pinch of salt sort of thing, but
Mhm.
like he could like turn out to be what's his name, Victor Saz, which I think it doesn't really fit him as a villain. People are trying to like get like DC villains with the name Victor, and like I think Freeze is his name, Victor Freeze, and it's like I don't see him as Freeze either, obviously, but could he
That'd
be
be
a
the
very young?
weirdest.
That'd be so weird, bro. Because like I think the second Batman movie is going to take place like in the snow, so like I think they're kind of hinting at it being like a Freeze story, but I can't imagine like whatever happens because again we know the Freeze kind of story. Like his wife dies and he kind of puts her on ice to try and find a cure to
No, no,
save her. And he's like a
yeah, no,
genius and all this stuff. Like it's not Freeze, like 100% not.
right. She dies. I thought she's just ill.
Oh, maybe yeah. Sorry, she's got like some terminal disease, and he puts her on ice till he can fucking cure her or whatever. Yeah,
Right, right.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Again, as I say, I'm not really kind of digging too deep into the DC lore to see if this
Mhm.
Victor guy has shown up before. I kind of like just watching the show as it is. Um, I loved Penguin's white suit when they were at the club during the kind of club scene at the nighttime when they were doing the drug run. He just looked baller. I thought it was great.
Oh yeah,
um,
like really, really snazzy.
yeah, I put a picture of him in that suit in the thumbnail. I was like, this is fucking cool. Um, Something that I kind of didn't really think about, but I was only like as I was watching the episode, I was kind of thinking about Sophia, and I was thinking like, oh, obviously, she was in Gotham or she was in like Arkham during the movie.
Mhm.
Um, but and I didn't really think about it before, but she's actually Catwoman's sister, which is pretty cool. So
Interesting.
Her and Catwoman are sisters, like half sisters, I suppose. But yeah, it's like that could be a cool kind of dynamic down the line if she survives the show. I kind of get the feeling that maybe she won't.
Mhm.
Uh, but she's a big actress, like so maybe it could be a good kind of stepping stone for her to come into the movies afterwards and stay around. So again,
Maybe. I mean it. I mean, yeah, like I agree though. Like she's doing a fantastic job right now, and she's pretty damn captivating. I think Vic is doing a great job. I still think that Sophia is a much stronger character at this point. It's the only reason why I say this is because of the fact that like we've seen it before with Walt and Jesse. So like just kind of trying to give this a bit more of an open playing field, and I see that the obviously the lady that plays Sophia is doing a fantastic job, and so is Penguin. Like they're all doing great. I don't think I've ever had anybody do terrible acting during these 3 episodes that made me think like, oh, it just took me out of the mix.
yeah, and like I think you said it earlier, like episode two is probably the weakest of the three. It was a good episode, like lots of stuff happened, but there wasn't like any very memorable things that happened in the episode that, well, I don't know. I think I need to watch it again, but it's like when we were talking about it, I kind of felt like we didn't have a massive amount to kind of go over. I do remember, obviously, Vic getting caught trying to stash the diamonds, and Penguin thinking on his feet and double crossing, and like changing the plan when shit was going on.
Hmm.
It was like it definitely kind of put us in a mindset. It put him in a mindset, or like us knowing that he is in that kind of criminal mindset, and he's able to think on his feet, and that's what he needs to survive in this world.
Right.
Yeah, it's fucking great, man, and it's something that I will definitely revisit, like 100%.
Hmm.
I think it's very strong week by week. I think if you were to sit down and binge this show, it'd be even better. Like, could you imagine watching the first 3 episodes in a sit down on a Saturday or something, and you get to the end of where we've seen so far, and that'd be like the end of your first view, like that'd be fucking sick. Like, a lot to take in, a lot of cool action, um, and just great kind of fucking storytelling, great acting, great. I was gonna say choreography, but not great. Like dialogue, um, yeah, beautiful, man, beautiful
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
Like,
definitely.
honestly, I'd be scoring episode 3 like very very close to a 10. I know nothing is ever a 10 out of 10, but I say stuff is a 10 out of 10 when it's like close enough. So
Right.
like, I'm calling this a 10, but in the real world, it's not an actual 10.
Hmm.